When you file for divorce, you'll be shocked to find out how little your prenuptial agreement actually does.
I, as an individual, do not believe in prenuptial agreements. We prepare them all the time. We represent people who are engaged in negotiating them all the time, part of what we do. But personally, I don't believe in them.
Now a legal case threatening all prenuptial agreements signed before 2010. It centres on the failed marriage of an older man to a strip club dancer. Brian Seymour has the details.
Hey guys, so some old rich fool got really pussy thirsty and decided to marry a stripper at one of the strip joints he regularly visited. Apart from being a complete rich moron, at least he tried to do the right thing by signing a prenuptial agreement. But little did he know that prenuptial agreements often aren't worth the paper they're written on, and judges often throw them away like a dirty diaper during the court proceedings.
Lawyers have branded it the pole dancer case. It threatens to render thousands of prenuptial agreements worthless.
Could potentially open the floodgates for thousands of litigants who have signed agreements.
Given the pseudonym in court of Mr. Wallace, this middle-aged man, worth $16 million, frequented a Sydney nightclub where, over time, he became besotted with one particular dancer, named Ms. Stelzer.
Okay, so this pussy-hungry fucking idiot is worth $16 million, which means he can potentially have a different stripper or two have sex with him every night of the week. And it would cost him literally several $100s a week at most, and considering that this man is a multi-millionaire, in other words, it's chump change for men like him. But what does he do? He develops a oneitis for some stripper, which spells doom for most men financially. I mean, if this man wanted a companion so badly, why didn't he just go for a sugar baby? He could have paid her a salary and had a young girl who would come in at his request, put out his thirsty penis fire, and then leave to come back for another day. It's a win-win for both parties, and much, much cheaper than having a wife and then going through a divorce. You would think that millionaires are smart people, but certainly a lot of wealthy men out there are almost fucking retarded when it comes to sex and relationships with most women.
Meet 63-year-old Tommy and 21-year-old Monty. They've been together for 2 years.
I love them.
Well, yeah, they look great.
They're fun.
Yeah, they are.
Thank you for them.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm.
They refer to each other as Sugar Daddy and Sugar Baby.
Give me a kiss. Well, that's like...
See, this is what I'm talking about. If you're a wealthy man who just wants a female companion, then be like Tommy. He's 63 and he's sleeping and spending his time with a 21-year-old girl. Best of all, he can let her go anytime and there will never be any legal ramifications. He can then easily upgrade to a younger model and keep sleeping with young women well into his 70s and 80s and beyond without ever risking losing his money in divorce.
High five, right?
Yeah.
Except it's a lot better.
It's powerful.
When she needs money, Tommy's her go-to guy. And for Monty, who asks we only shoot her in profile, it's a way to get the education she can't afford.
He's like, I can help you get through school easy. And you just travel with me, have fun, be around me, and just keep me company. And I said, sure, you're gonna pay for my school?
See, this is how all relationships should be, transparent as fuck. As a MGTOW, I'm sure many other men going their own way could appreciate such a setup between a man and a woman. Money exchanged for company, sex, beauty and youth. But because we live in a politically correct, gynocentric society which is largely based on feminism, today's modern marriage is a trap and nothing more for a man getting married. There is nothing for a man to gain by getting married.
It's a trap!
We observed that being a sugar baby comes with other perks.
We're going to do a little shopping today.
Last June, Tommy told us he drops $5 grand a month on Monty.
Ooh.
Isn't that hot? These earrings with a pair of high heel shoes, great outfit. Oh, goodness. Whoa. God. Did you say 387?
387.25.
Fine.
And it's not just Monty. He's got 6 other sugar babies.
Thank you so much.
So Monty makes $5,000 per month from Tommy, which equals to about $60,000 per year. And Tommy has 6 other sugar babies, which brings the rough total to about $360,000 annually. To have 6 young women who Tommy gets to fuck and spend time with any day of the week for as much as he wants. There is no cheating, no lying, just pure enjoyment and no risk of losing his millions in case things are headed for a divorce, because he's not married to any of them and they're not living with him. I realize that unless unless you're fucking loaded like Tommy, $360k a year is a lot of money for pussy. But you don't need to spend that much money on a sugar baby if you don't want to. I'm sure most wealthy millionaire men would be happy with 1 or 2 women. And obviously $5,000 per month is some of the more expensive sugar babies out there. And this is the scenario if you're seriously loaded and have money to burn. I would never recommend this type of a setup for a man who makes small money, and especially for MGTOWs who are trying to ghost themselves and avoid all kinds of relationships. But if you're a complete pussy thirsty blue pill man who is seriously thinking of marriage and at the same time you're a multi-millionaire, do not get fucking married, even with a prenuptial agreement. Get a sugar baby instead. It's a much better deal, long term or short term.
Tommy was an IT executive who retired with enough to spend about $150,000 a year on the ladies combined.
When you walk into a room and you have a beautiful woman with you, it's a compliment to you as a male. It's like pulling up in a really nice car or something, you know. Hate to compare that way, but it is. It has a good feel to it.
So Monty's like a really nice car.
Yeah.
And like a car, these relationships might not last forever, though they start out promising. If there were no sex involved with Monty or your other sugar babies, would you still bring them around for companionship and still give them money?
No.
Sexually, how have things been different for you? I mean, he's much older than you.
It is what it is.
Are you paying for sex with a young girl?
Well, you know, you pay somehow, somewhere for sex, no matter what it is. You know, they say wives do it for refrigerators. You could look at, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody right now and saying that's exactly what this is. And if they want to say that, they can say that.
Tommy is thrice divorced and is the father of 2 young adults around Monty's age. He meets many of his sugar babies on seekingarrangement.com.
So you guys can see that Tommy has been married and divorced 3 times and it cost him big. Why not learn from this man's mistakes and avoid getting slaughtered in a divorce court by your future-to-be ex-wife? Once again, this is more geared towards blue pill men, not my MGTOW brothers who already know that women, marriage, moving in together and getting her pregnant is a really bad fucking deal for a man. But if you are a blue pill man with blue balls and still want a wife or a companion, hire a sugar baby instead. It's much cheaper and you can replace her at any moment. Anyway, I have shown you blue pill men who are rich and wealthy but who are still thirsty for marriage, a much better alternative to getting hitched. And if you're still unsure, just have a look at what happened to multi-millionaires such as Johnny Depp and his ex-wife gold-digging cunt Amber Heard. Now back to the main story on prenuptial agreements.
Just 2 years into their marriage, it fell apart.
She said prior to marrying him that she loved him, and he believes that that was fraudulent and she was in effect lying.
Solicitor Amelia Trotman from Michael Lynch Family Lawyers in Brisbane says Wallace's legal challenge is that his lawyer did not properly explain the prenuptial he signed.
He argues that his solicitor didn't provide him with adequate legal advice, that it was a very rushed process.
See guys, this is what I mean. Now that old rich fool is battling his own fucking legal team that was supposed to protect his assets from the gold-digging cunt ex-wife.
While prenups are for all couples, richer or poorer, they are most common among the wealthy and famous. Recently, Olympian Grant Hackett decided to sue the lawyers who drafted his prenuptial agreement to ex-wife Candice Alley, claiming they botched it and put at risk his $8 million fortune.
You see, it's hilarious seeing this wealthy man battling not their gold-digging cunts of ex-wives, but their own fucking lawyers, because the prenuptial agreement was thrown out by the judge. And this man paid huge amounts of money to their lawyers to write up these prenups. Prenups are a fucking joke.
The pair's high-profile separation last May seems certain to get messier. Some might think actress Katie Holmes got a raw deal. After all, Tom Cruise is worth $275 million. Katie walked away with a prenup arranged $15 million, or $3 million for each year they were married. No wonder he was so happy. When Mad Mel Gibson and his wife of 28 years, Robin, divorced, the Oscar winner had amassed $900 million. Without a prenup, California law kicked in, and Robin got half. Not that he needs it, but Keith Urban will receive $640,000 for each year he and Nicole Kidman are wed, but a reported clause in their agreement states if he uses any illegal drugs, he gets nothing.
Parties need to make sure that they have sufficient time to really consider the agreements that is being drafted.
When it comes to celebrities and famous sports stars who are worth millions, even when they sign a prenuptial agreement, their ex-wife still walks away with millions of dollars regardless. When it comes to mere mortals such as Joe Blow, his prenuptial agreement will determine whether this man loses half of his funds and assets during a divorce or he gets to keep most of his resources. This is why so many people foolishly rely heavily on their prenuptial agreements.
Essentially, parties are giving up their right to ask for a property settlement in court.
If Mr. Wallace wins, every prenup signed in Australia before 2010 could be set aside. Law changes in that year may protect newer prenups. Regardless of the result, it serves to remind us that while contract law lies at the heart of our legal system, the heart is the hardest thing to judge.
And last but not least, here are 5 reasons why judges may throw out your prenuptial agreement in court. 1. The agreement is fraudulent. A prenuptial agreement requires each spouse to make full disclosure of his or her assets. In divorce, it's quite common for the husband to undervalue assets or fail to disclose them at all, so these assets can't be made part of the settlement agreement. Prenups are prone to this kind of dishonesty as well. If an ex-wife can prove that her husband did not fully disclose his income or assets at the time that she signed the prenuptial agreement can be thrown out. 2. The agreement was signed under duress or signed without mental capacity. In many times, a prenup is thrown out on the basis that a woman was forced to sign it. Similarly, if a woman can prove that she lacked mental capacity to understand the prenup when she signed it, for example if she was sick or under the influence of drugs, then the prenup will be thrown out. 3. The paperwork wasn't properly filled out. Careless errors could render a prenup useless. If the initial agreement was poorly drafted, it may also be invalid. 4. Prenup was signed without proper legal representation. Both parties to a prenup should have separate and independent lawyers. If a woman signs something that her wealthy fiancé or his family arranged to be drawn up for her to agree to in order to marry him, this prenup might become invalid years down the track. 5. The agreement contains ridiculous demands. If your prenup states no child support whatsoever will be paid in the event of a divorce, it is likely to be thrown out. Having conditions in your prenup such as your wife gaining weight and turning into a fat bush pig, cutting her hair short like a lesbian, stopping fucking you, or having sex with your best friend on the kitchen table will not hold up in court. If you still have full faith in prenups and marriage, I will leave you with this. A fool and his money are soon parted. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Please like, subscribe and comment, and seriously, if you want to avoid making really bad financial decisions down the track when it comes to prenups, marriages or any other critical financial hurdles that most men will face in their lifetime, I strongly urge you to check out the official MGTOW book titled MGTOW Building Wealth and Power for Single Men Only. I have placed a link in the video description. Also, a quick shout out to the new Honda of Bowie for supporting my channel through a donation. Really appreciate it, guys. Cheers.